Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 520. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale.
How you doing?
Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And Brian Manjoma.
Yes, Andrew House. That's exactly why Dragon Age didn't sell.
Oh man, yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. Oh man, I gotta add the Shuhei thing. I don't know what he said, but I'll have it in the show notes, and you could speak on it. You know.
Yep.
All right, man. No Chris action. He needs to initiate the Odin sleep. He's very exhausted. And Brett is still mending, but I'll give you guys an update. I talked to Brett today. He is very medicated, but his usual chipper self. He was a little bit slow to start, but then when we started talking about all this, woke garbage and video games, he got more animated. So I'm like, okay, Brett's doing all right, Still in pain, obviously, but yeah. But he's on the mend. He wanted me to recommend him. Oh, what's up, Manny?
I was gonna say nothing like a little bit of anger to get the blood boiling.
Yeah, because he was like, and then we started talking about games, and then he was like, talking about Dragon Age, for example. But yeah, he just wanted some game recommendations while he waited. I told him like, dude, there's nothing until Monster Hunter. So he's like, all right, gotta hit the Game Pass backlog then, because he was looking for some new shit. Because Avowed, when is that dropping again? It's dropping soonish. But anyway, Monster Hunter. So hopefully he'll be able to join us. And he did say, when he feels a little bit better, he may make a random appearance on Throwdown. So, shout out to Brett. All right, man, let's get into it. So this was a kind of not a weird week. It was just there wasn't one story that really dominated everything. So we got a bunch of littler stories, Let's get into it. So one of the kind of running jokes on Throwdown has been that GTA6 will be delayed until 2026. But Take-Two CEOs insist that the game will be dropping this fall. And he, quote unquote, feels good about it. Yeah, we'll see about that, bro. Remember, every GTA game has been delayed at least once. And this one has not been delayed yet. So we'll see about that. But don't we have any people taking bets on this, Carlos, in the Discord or something?
Someone's probably gonna have to remind me from the Discord. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we've had some bets on this.
Yeah.
I'm adamant that this is gonna get delayed to 2026.
Yeah.
All bets are off, though. This is a whole new team. All the people that were part of the other shit are gone. So who knows what these guys are doing? I don't know any of the mofos working on this fucking game.
Yeah. By the way, that's actually what set Brett off. But I was like, I don't know these fucking people. Going back to what we talked about in the previous show, people don't know about the people that actually pay attention to the names of the people who make the games, not just the company.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, Carlos.
Well, and just to piggyback off that real quick, and that's my whole issue. It's like the gaming industry is treated like a carousel of characters. It's like, oh, they're all expendable, so you don't get the same cast,
Man, they treat it like the Menudos, It's just like they keep replacing with another fucking Latino. And I'm like, who's this dude? Yeah, he looks just like the last guy. Exactly, that's our point. He can sing and dance and do all the same shit. Don't worry about it. Same guy.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna get delayed. I mean, the whole thing with the earnings call, it's like, yeah, I mean, these companies lie all the time. They always say, oh, this is gonna come out this year. I wouldn't be surprised if it's still.
Well, they have to. They have to. They can't be negative about the shit. They never are.
Yeah.
They don't tell you the truth.
Yeah. By the way, because I hadn't read the statement, I'm like, oh, this is a little bit non-committal, bro. Check this out. Mm-hmm. This is what this dude said to IGN. Look, there's always a risk of slippage, and I think as soon as you say words like absolute, you jinx things. But we still feel good about it. So he's already given himself a little leeway. So if it does get delayed, as me and Carlos predict, he could be like, hey, look, I said it. I said it. I said nothing absolute, motherfucker. You know?
Mm-hmm.
There is no way this doesn't get delayed. I agree with you, Carlos. Like, they're just saying this shit to a piece of shareholders. What's up, Rich?
So I just was going to make a comment and say, I listened to the earnings call earlier today. And from what I gathered, there were multiple people that asked about Grand Theft Auto, and they kept giving the same answer. Now, one thing I did think was interesting is they mentioned all their upcoming games this year. Of course, they mentioned Grand Theft Auto. And as for Adam's favorite game, Borderlands 4, they said that's not coming until after Grand Theft Auto. So that game might get delayed. I don't know, but I still believe with you and Carlos, this game is going to get delayed. I just feel it.
Well, how long has it been in development that we actually know?
We don't know.
Truth? We know. See, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. We don't. I don't know. Fuck this game.
Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, I think it'll get delayed. And you guys could hold us accountable if we're wrong. You know, we're never ashamed to admit it when we're
never wrong. What the fuck are you talking about?
No,
How dare you say that?
Yeah,
you're wrong for saying we're wrong.
There you go. Yeah. No, Chris and I were horribly wrong about the Switch, for example.
Everybody was wrong about that shit.
No, not Brett. I'll give it to Brett. He was the only one. You know, he believed.
I know that's true. That's true.
But yeah, anybody else have any thoughts on GTA 6 and its release date? I think it might be November. And I also think if they actually do lock that date, all other games would just clear the path for it, you know?
I didn't pay any real attention to those leaks and stuff, but the gameplay that came out, that got leaked, did it have a date? Did it say how long ago that gameplay footage was taken? Or it was like,
nope.
Because then that could be a good indicator. If it looked great and looked semi-polished, then it could be that they are far along. If it was early on, then that could, I don't know.
Yeah, no, what they showed didn't look very polished. People were giving it shit like, oh, what the fuck? Why does this game look so last gen? Because it's not finished, bro. You know? But we don't know when that was developed. So we have no idea.
We don't know.
Yeah. All right, so there you go, your GTA 6 news. But segue, we did mention the Switch. I want to talk about the Switch too. A couple of Switch things in general. So we remember we talked about the price of this console, and I said that they will not try to make it too expensive. You know, they still want it to be a console for everybody, you know. And Nintendo's president, you know, has come out to say that they are trying to make sure this shit is reasonably priced. So let's see here if you have a quote, because I don't think he gives an exact number, obviously, you know. Oh, did he say that? Oh, excuse me? Or is that the author writing that? Because right here it says, I still think it launched at 400, but I'm not sure if the president said that, Furukawa, or the fucking author. You know, it's like, you gotta make a little distinction here, guys. You know? 400 seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
I don't think we're not going to get 500. Like, that's not a mainstream console. Then that's for more enthusiasts. But I know the PS5 is $500 and it's sold gangbusters. I understand that, but you know, this is for families, so you're going to want it a little bit less than that.
I could see another tier a little higher, only based off of storage. If they say, hey, this comes with a 1 terabyte micro SD card or something.
But Nintendo's never done that.
I know, but
yeah.
I think they said that this port actually supports a micro SD plus expansion. It's the faster cards. So who knows?
Yeah.
Adam, do it.
Gotta have something.
They gotta have something.
They gotta have something to try to squeeze your wallet. Just get a few more drops out, you know, and they'll figure it out.
I agree with Adam. I feel like they're gonna have multiple SKUs. It's just a way too easy opportunity to milk, you know, the console release. As far as the price, saying that it's going to be affordable, again, to put it into context, we're talking about 2025 now. Yeah. So, you know, a cheap console is $400 to $500. Back in the day, $400 to $500 was like kind of a lot. But So yeah, I'm with Tony. I feel like 400 might be the sweet spot for the cheaper version of whatever the lower SKU would be of the Switch 2.
Yeah. But I will disagree with you guys. I don't think there's going to be multiple SKUs. Not at launch. Going to be one. You know, Nintendo's never done that shit before. So I don't think they'll do it now. They don't remember. They're not selling this console to guys like us who will be like, "Oh, what SKUs do you have?" They're selling it to mom and pop America and shit. You know,
we also talked about that, and we weren't sure about that from the design. It wasn't a kiddie design. The color scheme and everything. They're going a little more mature with this. And if they want to focus on digital sales, then it makes sense to add a bigger micro SD card in there. But that they could easily jack up just from that. No other specs, just like. What we've seen with some of the consoles back in the day. Remember, it was like, oh, you get the 128 one or you get the 256. Whatever.
But again, for different market,
so
Nintendo
that could be
doesn't want to confuse. Yeah, but I mean, we'll see. You guys could be right, but I don't see that happening. I think this was just the author saying they think it's $400 because I'm reading Furukawa's statements. My man doesn't say anything about price. He didn't say that number. He just said,
and he would be talking about yen.
Yeah. He said that inflation is currently rising and that the exchange rate environment has changed significantly since the launch of the Nintendo Switch. So he said that, and people were like, oh shit, what the fuck? But he goes, we also need to consider the affordable prices that customers expect from Nintendo products. When considering the price of our products, we believe that it is necessary to consider these factors from multiple angles. Yeah. Again, they're not trying to confuse regular people, mom and dad going to Best Buy. They're not going to be like, oh, what SKUs do you have? They don't know what the fuck that means.
They like confusing people. The Wii U is an example of that shit. They don't care. They really don't fucking.
Yeah, but that didn't have multiple SKUs.
A broken SKU. That one confused the shit out of people.
Yeah. And on related news, apparently Nintendo is preparing for Switch 2 scalpers. That's going to be coming, So yeah, that's something I think it was just during the same earnings call, Furukawa said that all possible measures, whatever that means, are being taken to counter resellers because that's something that plagued all the consoles last time,
So they're gonna do artificial scarcity again?
Probably,
like, oh.
Well, I mean, not selling to them. I don't remember having. Did we see that issue for the PS5? Because remember, we got those.
Are you kidding me?
Oh hell yeah!
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. I don't like
anymore. Adam, you were here. We were talking about that. Remember, we even reports that 10% of sales were all from scalpers. It was a huge deal.
Shit. Damn, what was it? Remember, we got the emails, and
I didn't get no fucking emails.
I could have swore. Remember,
we.
Yeah, who's we? You got
else
emails.
On here. Who else got their emails on here? No. But you did. Well, I just remember getting an email. You, Manny. Cut the bullshit. You did get an email for the new one. Because you remember
I got an email the second time around.
The second time. There you go.
Yeah. No, but that was a big deal. Like, again, we reported on this multiple times, how people couldn't get the fucking PS5s because of scalpers. We literally showed pictures of motherfuckers in their garages with stacks of PlayStation 5s. It was crazy.
Was the Pro one. I don't know.
No, it wasn't, Adam. This was in 2020 when the shit came out.
My brain is hurting. This is too much. These consoles come out every 6 months. I can't keep.
You didn't get the email.
Yeah, you didn't get the email about the scalpers.
The thing
I already had my PS5 by that point, so I wasn't looking at the scalpers.
Yeah, no, it was a huge deal. Again, we reported on it literally every week for months.
The thing about it, and it's because and that's when they started, attempt at one point one answer they did later on was like, okay, you had to have an active account and you couldn't just have made the account or all this stuff. In fact, that's what I think. One of the things Nintendo did enacted on one of their
Steam Deck did it. That's what Steam Deck did.
Where they had to have an active account and you had to have been working
for 6 months. At least 6 months. Yeah.
But
no, that was a I remember even the point, it was a year and a half later, maybe 2 years, where again on Throwdown we reported, hey, stocks are finally available. Because it was for a fucking long time. Remember the chip shortage, scalpers. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Nintendo says we will take all possible measures based on the experience we have accumulated to date regarding scalpers and the like. We are making preparations. So I don't know what these. Okay, here we go. As a countermeasure, here we go. As a countermeasure against resale, we believe that the most important thing is to produce a sufficient number to meet customer demand, and that this idea has not changed since last year. Yeah, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, where they said that they want to have so many units available that it's not going to be like, it won't make sense for scalpers to buy these things because people could just buy them. And other reports are saying, okay, I'm going to tie a couple of things up. All those Switch leaks, right, that have happened, I think it's because, remember, Nintendo said they want to sell like 20 million of these things by the first year. I think the reason those leaks are happening is because they've been producing these things for months now, and obviously things are going to leak out, just like with phones and tablets and laptops, so I think that's what's going on. Like, I think Nintendo is going to just throw these fucking things out there, so that'll be interesting. Here's another one. In addition to this, we will also take into account the circumstances of each region and make decisions within the limits permitted by law. We are currently considering whether any countermeasures can be taken in this area. That's interesting. I don't know what that means, but that's interesting.
That might have to do with the current tariffs that are going on right now.
Yeah, well, you're right. China hasn't caved yet, like Mexico and Canada did.
China,
they put that 15% on
this. So there is a chance. So the way some of the tariffs work is it's on freight, right?
Yeah.
So what Nintendo could do, and this is partially how they saved money previously, is they had a factory in fact, if Chris was here, he would have told you, because at one point he did do some work in the factory where they wanted him to get used to getting used to the console, so he got to put one together.
But the Wii, I remember that.
There's a Wii. So so the reason why they have that factory here in the States is so that they can cut down on manufacturing costs, so they don't have to ship a bunch of them over. If they're just shipping the parts over and they just construct them here, kind of like the way they do with cars, it probably will save them a little bit of money. So that might be what he might be alluding to.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, we'll see. If Nintendo will have enough stock for people. Remember, the Nintendo Direct is happening April 2nd, where we're going to get more, and hopefully we'll learn what the price is at that point. Did they give a release date for this thing? I don't think they did.
No, they only announced. We were
speculating,
that it might be during holiday season.
I think so. Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. If the Direct is going to be in April, holiday makes sense, because then you have like 6 months to get shit ready.
Yep.
There you go. And then the last piece of Switch news: the original Nintendo Switch has now officially sold 150 million units. It is 10 million units away from the PlayStation 2, which is 160 million.
It's not going to do it.
It's not going to do it, because with the new console, if they had another year, I think they probably could have done it. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. But pretty impressive nonetheless.
Most impressive.
I don't know if they have. Daniel Ahmad, he posted like how long it took certain consoles to reach 150 million. I should have had that tweet ready, but it was kind of interesting. I think the Switch reached it the fastest, 150 million. It took the PlayStation a couple of years, few years.
I mean, the PlayStation 2 just lasted for way too long.
Yeah. And also, remember another reason. Here's something somebody pointed out, which is interesting. At one point, you could buy a PlayStation 2 for $99, right? They slashed the price out of shit. Did you get any price Did you get any price reductions on the Switch? Nope.
No.
That motherfucker cost $300 the whole time. It
was also a perfect storm for the PS2, because when the PS3 came out, it was so unobtainable in terms of price, in terms of games, in terms of a whole bunch of stuff. So people were just like, I'm just gonna stick with my PS2. Not only that, the thing you mentioned, they went with the lower price. they still were at E3. They were still pimping PS2 games.
Yep.
Every convention,
That was a
every
joke,
press conference.
you know?
Yep, they went for years, and people didn't really care about Blu-ray initially. At least they didn't care about it like DVDs back in the day. So yeah, it just had a perfect storm. And considering that the Switch, I think the Switch is going to surpass it. If anybody wants to make a bet, let me know.
You think it'll happen this year?
Yeah.
And are you?
Tough one. Yeah.
Yeah. And wait, hold on, just to make sure I heard you right, because I found the tweet, by the way, so I was a little distracted. Are you saying that Switch is going to outsell PS2 this year?
No. Just in overall, like in its lifespan.
But so you think Nintendo's going to keep manufacturing the Switch even when the Switch 2 drops?
For a little bit, yeah.
Interesting. Because I'm of the belief that they're going to cut that shit off like they always do, because otherwise,
if you want to make a bet,
yeah, sure, we could make a bet. I think
let's do it.
Yeah, I think by the end of the year, the Switch 1 will be discontinued.
Let's just make this bet.
Okay.
By the end of the Switch's life cycle, it'll be the best-selling console of all time.
Yeah. So by this year, then I don't think that thing's gonna survive past this year. Like once the Switch 2 drops, I think within a month or two, shit's done.
Well, it's here's the thing. They might still produce, because here's the part that I'm not too sure of. That's why I don't want to use that stipulation. Nintendo can generate a whole bunch of stock for Switch, like 5 million in stock this year, and then just stop. But then they'll still be selling it the next year.
Yeah. Here's the thing: if Nintendo was a normal company, I would agree with you, right? Like that the Switch will still be supported for another year. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, because and that's why I don't want to take that particular bet, because the technicalities matter, and I think with Nintendo, it's the technicalities are important.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do a gentleman's bet then, where nothing's really at stake.
The gentleman's bet with a handshake.
Yeah, with a handshake and bragging rights.
2 cigars.
Yeah. All right. So here it is. This is okay. So this is the time it took these consoles to sell 150 million units. The Nintendo Switch. Actually, let me start in order. It took the Nintendo DS 86 months to reach that milestone. Took the Switch 94 months. There's the PlayStation 2 133 months. But like you said, the PS2 was just out forever. So the Switch sold faster. For sure. It's going to be interesting, man. But yeah, huge milestone indeed, man. All right, moving on. All right, Brian, let's have some fun. So as we know, Dragon Age Veilguard, or as we affectionately like to call it, Failguard, did indeed fail, right? And we kind of know why. All that nonsense they threw in there, the gameplay being just completely different. A lot of things, the fucking stylistic choices, graphics, all that bullshit, like just led to it. Just it's writing, to absolute dog shit writing. A lot of factors led into this game failing. But according to EA CEO, he says none of those things were it. He specifically said that the reason that this game failed is because it wasn't a live service game.
He smokes a crack rock.
I wish I was making this up. He honestly believes that. I'm going to tell you this, man.
It didn't work for Anthem. Come on now. He knows the live service games don't always work. He knows it.
I wonder if we have to go through this again. We did this like about a year or two ago, where we listed every live service game that failed, including Anthem. Again, people are chasing that crown of Fortnite, the biggest live service game out there. But it's like, not everybody does this, man. Not everybody's successful, So let me see if I can pull up his bullshit quote. Because my man, he said it with the entirety of his chest, Like, are you kidding?
I wonder if he...
Yeah.
I wonder if this guy was with BioWare when Anthem came out. That would be another question for that.
That's a good question.
Maybe he doesn't even know. They're like, "What about Anthem?" I said, what's the Anthem?
What's an Anthem?
The game
the United States one?
They did one of these bullshits. Like, what? I wasn't here for that, so I don't know.
Yeah. So let me read this. This is from a Twisted Voxel regarding Dragon Age: The Veilguard's inability to reach a wider audience. Wilson, the CEO, said that games must align with the changing expectations of players who prioritize, quote, shared world features, end quote, and, quote, deeper engagement, end quote, alongside compelling narratives. In other words, he expected the game to have been more successful if it had features, live service elements. Bullshit. I'm going to say this. As much as this game bombed, I think it would have bombed even worse if it was a live service game, you know? You want proof? Look at Concord, which had a lot of pitfalls similar to this bullshit. You know, go ahead,
Shout
bro.
out to Rich.
You know,
here's the thing: the irony of it all, at least for me, I thought this was a live service game.
Yeah, we talked about this on the post show. We talked about it during the show. What am I talking about?
It was. I think it was during the show. Yeah, I thought this was a live service game. That's the way it was presented. That's why I didn't want to play it. I'm like, oh shit, now this looks different.
Yeah,
all this like hero type shooter kind of inspired looking thing. So I thought it was that, and then it turns out when you guys corrected me, I was like, oh shit. But like you guys mentioned, this whole fascination with live service is just part of the freaking disease, man.
Yeah.
Where it's like all these people want the freaking white whale, where they just want to get the almighty dollar for the things, man. They don't care about creativity. They don't care about the craft. They don't care about anything. They care about making money. So that's where inspiration comes for making video games. And that's why, and it's the wrong inspiration. That's why all these studios, I'm looking at you, Sony, mother freaking Sony. Shout out to Jim Ryan. I'm glad you're gone. All this fucking concentration on live service stuff is just bullshit. It's not gonna work. It's gonna work once in a freaking blue moon.
Yeah.
And then everyone's gonna think, oh, well, that's the way we need to go. That's the way the industry's going. No, you're not Fortnite. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. And I'm reading this right now. This is very interesting. And Carlos, this kind of justifies what you said about this being a live service game. Apparently, the game originally was going to be a live service game, and it was being developed as one, and then they switched things up like midway through development. So that explains a lot, actually. Because remember, that explains a lot. Because even when they first announced it, I thought the same fucking thing. I was like, what the fuck is this Fortnite shit? You know? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Manny.
So it's funny because in one of our later topics, Shuhei Yoshida actually does sort of dance on this topic as to why we're seeing a lot of executives always seem to say, oh, it should have been a live service, because in a weird way it's easy to quantify to them. Yeah, because it's like, okay, you make your initial investment, kind of like the way comics work, where you make that initial investment, right? You put it out there, and then the continued investment into it keeps the lights on, as opposed to just one big drop. You drop it in sections, and that's why he said that. That's why he thinks that doing it this way would have been the best decision, because again, if you're doing a live service game, you wouldn't be spending so much on this, spending so much trying to get everything into this one section. You just split it off into different parts and then release it later. So that's why he says something like that. In other words, we make our initial investment, on this not Concord, but this Dragon Age thing, and then continue to support it later. And if it doesn't do any good, we just chop it off before it before it gets any further. Kind of like what's happened with Suicide Squad and Concord and all that other stuff. So yeah.
By the way, shout out to Otaku Man, and I want to say that I make sacrifices for the Throwdown fans. He's doing something I wish I was doing right now, playing Monster Hunter Wilds beta, but I'm here for you guys, we are all here. Manny, you're muted.
Can we play it?
It's available right now.
Oh shit! All right, we'll fire up.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you. We'll
see you next Monster Hunter. Later. Let's go.
No, yeah.
Yeah, they'll have another one on the 13th, so hopefully we'll be able to check that out. But yeah, the CEO is full of shit. It's full of shit, bro.
Again, it's like it's obviously they're all chasing the dragon, but you see they don't seem to understand how much of a difficult space that is, right?
Yeah,
they're just like, all right, well, we're just going to keep on trying to do this, and then here's the thing: if it should have been a service game, that would have failed even harder.
Yeah.
It would have failed even harder if it was a service game, because why are you invoking the name Dragon Age? Let's just ask that question.
Yeah.
If you're making a sequel to a Dragon Age game, that means that you're trying to attach yourself to what was done previously.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right, because the people who bought this game were still clinging on to the hope. It's like, oh, this is Dragon Age. But if those same people would have known this was a live service game, none of them would have bought this fucking game.
No.
You know?
Because as soon as they would have said Dragon Age live service game, it would have just been an instant no. And they would have been they probably would have been chopped down even faster than fucking Concord was.
Yeah. Hold up real quick. I got to give a shout out to Chris G over on YouTube, and I see that profile. It's the voice of God himself, people. It's my cousin right there, man. What's going on, dude? You know, and you kind of show up at a
coming
perfect.
Back to the division.
You know,
coming back for that update.
Don't mention the division to him. My man's still traumatized by that shit.
No, he's got to play. We're going back to Brooklyn when the DLC drops.
Yo, Chris, man, we're going back to motherfucking Monster Hunter, son. It's happening. You know. By the way. Dio, he's been in the chat. He didn't know the beta was up. I think he just pulled Forrest Gump meme right now. Oh shit, it's up. Oh man, chilling, brother. He goes, "What's good, fellas? You already know Monster Hunter is coming, man."
You could do, man. You could download it to your console and everything.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, go ahead.
Now we're all natural born kaiju hunters.
You know, there you go. But yeah, Veilguard failed for a reason. It was, I guess, it was destined to fail, whether it be live service or what we ultimately got.
Well, you also got like it just had so many different things. It's like at this point, it's so far away from what the games were. Like, you know, none of the people that originally made those games, like, you know, both versions of those games were even at the studio anymore. So it's like, this is only Dragon Age in name only. And
yeah, pretty much.
I feel like, you know, obviously there are situations when people have taken over a franchise and been able to, you know, been able to you know, steward it forward, right? You know, where they switch around people and all that other stuff. But at the same time, it's like you have a duty. If you're doing like a sequel to a game, you have a duty to sort of really capture the magic of the previous one, but even better.
Yeah.
The guys that took over, you know, the guys who did Baldur's Gate recently, you know, those guys they knew what they were in for.
Yeah, Larian,
they did it. Larian, they went in and said, okay, we love Baldur's Gate. We're going to continue we're going to improve on what they have done previously. And that's what they got. And that's what they provided. So you're telling me it's already written for you out there. Why are we trying? Obviously you want to, you know, shine up the wheel, you know, get it looking even better, you know, fix it up and all that stuff, but don't try to reinvent that shit. Because what you get is Veilguard and you get Mass Effect Andromeda.
And you will get Marathon.
Yeah. Marathon, why is Marathon Marathon was you know, people forget that was like a game on the level of System Shock. Right? You know, narrative driven game, all kinds of, and it was
sci-fi.
You know, good stuff. But you know, now what are we doing? We're a multiplayer service game.
Yeah. Hey Brian.
What's up?
Actually, do you have anything else you want to add to this? Because I want to ask you a question.
Oh yeah. My favorite quote is the one where he says that Dragon Age had a high quality launch and was well reviewed by critics. However, it did not resonate with a broad enough audience. And that phrase to me is very telling on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Because no one can say that it failed because RPGs aren't popular, because Baldur's Gate 3 exists. And even in the same year, there was another RPG game with the name Dragon in it that also did very well. And to go even further on the live service thing, the fact that to say it didn't sell because it didn't have live service elements a couple of months after Concord, it's such a weird thing to say, and especially again a couple of months after Wukong, which had 0 live service.
Yeah.
But
So
that
it's
one got
just
China though.
but still, that's who people bought the game. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it doesn't matter who bought the game. People bought the game. Like, you can say, oh, it's China that bought the game. It's like, they still bought the game. Like, that means that this game didn't appeal to that audience. And no one's sitting here and asking why. Everyone's just willing to point things and say, oh, yeah, that's the problem. But no one's here to say, okay, so why didn't it appeal to the broad enough audience? What was it missing?
I think that's something that they say behind closed doors. They're not going to just openly do that, because then it puts the blame on themselves, and they don't want that.
Yeah, they'd rather blame us instead.
Yeah,
like
they'll blame you. They'll
never,
blame everybody else.
It's never going to be. And that's just the way current speech goes when it comes to this sort of stuff. It's never the studio's fault. It's never them taking the ill for misinterpreting the audience or any of that sort of stuff. You hear from what he said, oh, we need to make it more attractive to the broader audience. No, not with a game like Dragon Age. Dragon Age is not just like Baldur's Gate. Dragon Age is an inward outward, where, in other words, inward, you keep the hardcore, the enthusiasts, and the buzz and all that stuff, and it grows and grows and hits the outer surface. That's the way it always goes. Marvel used to do it. All these companies used to do it. You try to hit the enthusiasts first. You hit the fans first. They're evangelizing, and they're saying this is the greatest game ever made, and it works its way out, and that's how you get it. But these guys are like, no, we got to go what's popular, man. We got to do another Fortnite. We got to do another this. We got to do Overwatch. We got to do a service game. No, that's not going to work.
Yeah, no, I agree. Go ahead.
I feel like
you're invoking an old name like that.
I feel like a lot of the people that are in charge are not in touch with the video game culture.
Would
like
you say they're out of touch?
Most of those big guys are out of touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bioware will be out of time.
Anyway, go on.
Well, and here's the thing: like with a studio like Bioware, they were already in a downward slope for a decade now. I mean, they haven't really, since Mass Effect Andromeda, it's all been downhill when that game came out.
No, since Mass Effect 2.
No, Mass Effect 3 was good.
Yeah, they fixed the ending. They fixed the ending,
I liked Mass Effect 3.
Was it better than Mass Effect 2?
Oh, no, of course not.
No, yeah, but it was still
but Mass Effect 3 was still the last good.
It can be good,
yeah.
But if it's not better than Mass Effect 2, then you can say that the downward spiral started from Mass Effect 2. So then there's Mass Effect 3, and then there was Andromeda, and then there was not Titanfall. Anthem.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Andromeda was the complete drop off. Like I did not even feel like a Mass Effect game. It was disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say that it started there because Mass Effect 3 was worse than Mass Effect 2, but that slope intensified right after 3, and
by the way, I disagree with that. I don't think it intensified. I think it dropped off a cliff. Precipitous, but bam.
Well, semantics. I mean, we could probably be saying the same thing or believing in the same thing, just saying it different ways.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Bioware is that studio is dead.
Oh yeah,
we've been saying this. We've been saying this even before they announced. We've been saying this even before they announced Veilguard. They're rekindling an old IP with a whole bunch of developers and studio heads that had nothing to do with the original franchise. Maybe just a couple sprinkled in here and there, and they're just not making good games. It's not about the Dragon Age franchise. It's not about Mass Effect. I just feel like they're not capable of making great games like they used to. And that's just the natural corollary of video game makers. Most video game makers don't really stay on the top. They just fall off once the main folks leave.
Isn't this the case with most things that want to keep going? Like, Terminator 1, grade 2, grade 3. Oh, shit, what the hell? And it just keeps going down, and we see it all the time when they try to drag something out. Yeah, admit, you had a hit. Not everything needs to be duplicated into like a full series. You may not have that type of material to keep it going, or like the writers or the staffs leave, and it's like, well, we got the name, that should be enough. It's not enough. Then we get this shit.
It's crazy, man.
It's another situation where the brand over the people that make the damn thing, right? In other words, it's the strength of the brand. Oh, it's Dragon Age. Well, who made Dragon Age?
Yeah, who
only by name.
Yeah.
Who made Dragon Age? And how come these who's are not continuing to make a Dragon Age? Is it because they found the situation the situation at the studio a little bit, undesirable, and decided to maybe, I don't know, open up their own studio where they're happy again? Notice a lot of these studios that all the people that have made your favorite games. Look at those names, like we always say. Look at those names, because a lot of those names are currently at other studios making other titles.
Yeah.
You know that Indiana Jones game? Most of those guys made that the Chronicles, those 2 Chronicles of Riddick games that were really good from years ago.
Yeah.
Pay attention to those names.
Yeah, sometimes you get the misses, like the team that left started
Dead Space,
Dead Space one,
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
That was like,
I will say,
Callisto Protocol,
trash.
I will say the one thing about that situation: that guy was the producer.
Yeah. Oh, so
he wasn't the original. He wasn't the original writer. He wasn't the original programmer of that game.
That's
Those
a good
guys
point.
are somewhere else. So
I feel like we should institute a law where
wait, we don't do laws here. Wait, slow down.
What is the law?
I'm free, man. You don't tell me what to do.
The law should be, if a studio has so much turnover after half a decade, their budgets for the new game should be really small. So you start up from small place. Build up from there, because it's like you're getting all these studios like BioWare and stuff that are a shell of their former selves, and they're tasked with all these big budget games, as if like in 343, for example, as well, and all these studios that just people they're messing with a big IP, but they're not at that caliber to make those types of games. At least they don't have the pedigree or the hours to make it.
Yeah,
it's one of those situations though that it's a big IP name with Dragon Age, and so let's say if they did the reverse, like you said, if they, small team, not really proven, let's dumb it down, let's make it smaller, and then the news will leak out, hey, it's a lower budget. Everybody will instantly think it's going to be a trash game. Like, oh, they're going fast. They didn't put a lot of money. They're not putting quality into it. It would get shitted on before it even comes out. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's a tricky thing for sure.
Also, Carlos, don't detonate them. It's now Halo Studios.
Oh yeah. They'll be 343 for me.
Kill that name. I hate that.
That's funny, man. By the way, real quick, kind of related to the main topic here. Young Savage on YouTube goes, if GTA 6 is coming out in a few months, then why haven't we seen a second trailer? I don't think it's a few months. I think it's November. But that is a good point. Where's that second trailer?
Oh, shit.
When's
Tony!
the next award show? The summer Game Fest?
Yeah,
or
Summer
something?
Game Fest, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
They're not going to show it
The
during
real
that.
question is,
Yeah.
when is Carlos taking a trip?
You know
What month did you just mention?
Excuse me? Oh, I said November.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you making a trip, this motherfucker.
Man, you know, that's
The game's definitely coming out then.
That's the thing. I missed, especially when the one of the games that's in my list is the last freaking Take-Two Rockstar game.
Oh,
freaking
man.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
There you go. All right, so it's definitely coming out in November then.
Yeah,
Definitely coming out.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're welcome, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, Barry, if you're moderating, can you get rid of this fucking bot? Okay. Before we move on, Brian, I have a question for you. And related to this, what do you make of the director of Dragon Age failing upward? They are now going to be working on Ghosts of Yote.
Well, you already know my thoughts, but what I can say is I'm not surprised. Somehow as you said, they keep failing upwards for some odd. Well, I say for some odd reason. We all know why they fail upwards. You know, no one needs to say it. We all have eyes and know patterns. So I'm not surprised. It's more of a case of just how far can they infect this game with their nonsense? That's the question.
Yeah, because that is part of what the CEO will not admit. One of the reasons it failed Dragon Age, but very interesting. A clear example of failing upward. You just directed a game that bombed, and you're getting put on a bigger game. You know, like at least money wise. Very interesting.
Who knows? Maybe that deal was made before. They were like, all right, you working this? All right, what am I doing after this? Well, we got this other game. You know what? We like you.
Well, this was after this person was fired. So there wasn't like, this was like it planned, you know?
Okay, then.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, failing upward. All right. Switch gears here a little bit. Not up, even though that would have been a perfect. You know what? Since I already said gear, fuck it. We're switching things up a little bit. We got to talk about Metal Gear Solid. We got to talk about Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, people. Manny, what the fuck happened? They leaked the date.
So what happened is, and I don't know what this has to actually do with PlayStation.
Yeah.
Earlier today, the PlayStation Store updated with the new content that was going to be in Metal Gear Delta, a date and the trailer. And this was way this is before Konami California is even open. So this happened while they were still probably sleeping in their beds. Anyway, yeah. So now we have a date.
August 28th.
August 28th, which, by the way, is
your birthday.
Not too long. Well, not too long after the Metal Gear convention I will be at.
Interesting.
So that's kind of cool. And there's also some fun new things in there. So now in the new trailer, you get to see every single one of the bosses in the game. So they all look like, from Revolver Ocelot to to the Fear and all those guys, and the Pain and all that. And you also get to see a little bit of something extra. The return of Snake versus Monkey.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, for those of you who don't remember, in the original release, and you probably played the subsistence version of Metal Gear Solid, in the original release of Metal Gear Solid 3, there was an additional mini game that was put in there called Snake versus Monkey, because Kojima was a big Ape Escape fan, so he made a little fun, a fun little side game where you get to essentially play Ape Escape but with Snake. And there's a unique dialogue between him and Colonel Campbell, talking about the apes, and they make little references to Sam Fisher and who's the other stealthy guy? stealthy character that existed at the time. He makes references to
Yeah.
those characters, and at the time it was the only way that you could unlock the banana camo, the easy gun, and which was a infinite tranquilizer gun, and the monkey mask. So now that's all back. This wasn't in Subsistence. This was also not in the HD remake by Bluepoint. Oh, not remake, but the HD remaster by Bluepoint. So yeah, one thing I don't know is if this is exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah, we don't know that.
I don't know if the Snake versus Monkey is, even though it is a property for by PlayStation. You know, Ape Escape. You know, they had that. You know, they're in Astrobot and all that stuff. I don't know if this is something that'll be available on the Xbox. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff. But yeah, that just came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, okay, this leaked.
Yeah, it leaked. Somebody was just paying attention to the PlayStation Store, and yeah, they had screenshots and they recorded the trailer. So,
Yeah.
And then it seems like after that point, Konami just said, "All right, fuck it, whatever." IGN, you already got the trailer, so you know all of those guys started posting the trailer.
Yeah. What do you think of what you saw in the trailer, like with the graphics and everything?
I mean, they look good. You know, everybody looks cool. Like it looks like what you might remember. Your mind's eye of Metal Gear Solid 3 would have looked like what a next gen version of what a Metal Gear Solid 3 would look like. So yeah, looks cool.
Yeah.
I mean, from what they're saying, it's a pretty much a 1-to-1 thing with some, you know, quality of life adjustments. My guess, and I've said this before, is they most definitely incorporated things from familiar things from Metal Gear Solid 5 in the game.
Yeah.
So, you know, the ability to run. They have the crouch walk that you couldn't do before. So stuff like that. So, you know, it's definitely going to, and everything's intact. So it's not even like the Silent Hill one where it's like a remake. No, this is literally, they just, you know, they recreated the game and everything else is the same. The maps are the same, the characters are the same. They
it still has those transitions between like maps.
Yes.
Interesting. I wonder if
from people have said.
Yeah, I wonder if the Phantom Pain controls will kind of break this game if it still has the same kind of map layout.
I think this is something that I've saw in some of the gameplay things. Yes. They do sort of break the game a little bit because now you can move pretty good through it. Now, you know, because obviously part of the what made Metal Gear Solid 3 more difficult is because you had limitations in your movement. Now you can kind of do all this stuff. So I think, at least from what I have seen, it, you know, and I saw some people, you know, from Tokyo Game Show playing it. It's you know, definitely the game could have stood to be widened out a little bit in order to compensate for all the additional controls that you have, but they left it alone. So it's just going to be a really, you know, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's going to be a very, you know, it's going to be a lot easier to play than it was definitely previously was.
Yeah. And since you know more about this game than I do, do you know if they're going to have any like graphical filters? Because one of the complaints I've seen online is that it doesn't have that haze of the original.
There is multiple color gradings that you can apply to the game, and this is something that they actually announced this not very long after they you know, when people started talking about it. So there is a classic mode to give it that old OG kind of green look that the original 3 had. So, and then they have 2 other ones. They have a classic one, they have the new one, and then they have 2 other stylings that you can go with. And they said you get to pretty much choose that right before you even start the game.
Nice.
At least that's from what they said. So there you go.
Okay, that's good to know.
And then there's also a class. They obviously redid all the third person controls, but there is a ultra classic mode where the camera goes back to the top again, like the old game.
Yeah.
And you can play it like that.
That's good to know. Because I remember was it in Subsistence where they changed the camera controls? It was in one of them.
Subsistence is where. Yeah, Subsistence. Subsistence had the new third person right analog stick controls.
Yeah, because I remember I couldn't play that. Like I feel the game's map and controls don't fit free camera controls, so I had to go back to the just original. I couldn't do it. So I'm curious to see how this one will work. You know,
I will say this also, like the implementation of that third person camera mode was, it's also it was a little bit janky in comparison. Granted, in my later playthroughs of Metal Gear Solid 3, I have actually gone, I played it with the third person camera in there.
Yeah.
So, you can play it classic, full on classic from the top view, or you can play it like a revised version of the third person camera, which is very close to Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah. Be interesting. This game's kind of coming out at a good time, right at the end of summer. Not a lot happening, so I'll dive up. I can't wait. I probably going to put on the old graphic filter because I saw some screenshots. I'm like, that's like when you said like it looks the way your mind's eye remembers. I'm like, nah, that's not the way I remember it because that shit's too clear. But I know what you mean. Like the way it would look like. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the way your mind's eye remembered that game, or the way you would have experienced it back in the day, because that was graphically insane back then. Obviously,
it's still. Granted, the game still holds up. Like out of a lot. I mean, I feel like a lot of older Japanese games tend to hold up a lot better than a lot of Western games, where you'll see a lot of blocky people running around. But
yeah,
Silent Hill and Metal Gear are definitely the games that have sort of aged pretty damn well.
Yeah, at least from the PS2 era, because PS1 era, everybody looked bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna, that one's. I feel like 2 is when we started having you had fully modeled people, and it looks. Granted, it's standable. You can.
For sure. All right, moving on here. There was a Capcom Spotlight this week where they showed off a bunch of games. So as we usually do, we'll run through these. They didn't have a lot. I only really watched the first half because the last half was Monster Hunter, and I'm still trying to keep myself as pure as possible. Actually, before moving on, our boy Seth, he goes, the boss looks like a different person in Delta, not in a good way either. Uh-oh.
I don't know. I think they they don't look like the previous CG art that they did, the high-res CG art. They kind of look like a space between them. People don't seem to, they're not, I personally think she looks fine. But I think a lot of fans are also not happy with the way Revolver Ocelot looks.
I heard about that, yeah.
But I'll say this. The redesign of Revolver Ocelot, stick a mustache on him. What does he look like?
Yeah.
He looks like himself. So I feel like at least with some of them, and you can actually see it when you see the Sorrow too. The Sorrow, they look like what they did with their redesigns is they look like they actually took features from both the boss and the Sorrow and made a new version.
That makes sense.
Of Ocelot, or took portions of Ocelot's face and split them between the two a little bit. So it's weird. Because Ocelot now has a little bit of a weirder pointier nose. He looks a little bit different than he did on that previous one, but he actually kind of looks like a younger version of the mustachio
old guy,
Texan guy. Yeah, and if you see the Sorrow now, he looks like a lot like Ocelot too now.
Yeah, which makes sense. Real quick, Barry Burton says the original Metal Gear Solid 3 trailer leaked online right before E3, and I thought it was fake because of the James Bond music. Then I went to E3 and watched the whole trailer on the floor on the big screen. Cool stuff.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us thought it was a joke because of Metal Gear Solid. That song is kind of stupid. The Snake Eater song is kind of
at first
kind of a dopey.
It's obviously it's a classic now, but at first it was like, wait, what the fuck?
What is this goofy fake James Bond song that it's got there?
Yeah, it's like, why are they singing about eating snakes? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like you're eating a tree frog. You're like, someday you'll feed on a tree frog. Like, what? Okay.
but now obviously you hear that you're like, oh man, let's go. Anyway, so go ahead.
My personal favorite version of that song is actually, and I think the woman who sings it is very talented, but I like the way that song sounds without her on it. When you're fighting the boss at the end of the game, that version of the song sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really great.
The song.
Yeah. Anyway, Capcom. So here, we'll do a quick rundown of what they had. It started with a bunch of fighting games. Mai Shiranui, she is now available in Street Fighter. I've been playing with her. I know that sounds weird, but let's just say what it is. She's a fun character. She has a lot of really crazy moves. Obviously, no crazy King of Fighters like movements. It's all Street Fighter stuff. I unlocked everything for her in like World Tour mode. Lots of fun stuff. Andy Bogard shows up. A lot of like nice Easter eggs. That actually okay, so that DLC was supposed to drop on February 5th, which was yesterday, right? It actually unlocked February 4th at night at 11 p.m. or so. I think that's when I learned about it. I got work the next day. I stayed up till like 1 playing this shit. It was fun. Like I went through our arcade mode. She's, as always, looking for Andy. And she got herself in trouble, in Metro City, which is kind of fun. And then she, at the end, she ends up with in E Honda's shop. She was looking for the Pow Pow Cafe, but no, she ended up in E Honda. She was like, "What? You're a sumo wrestler?" It was fun. That's available now. Go check it out. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. You're like, Tony, that's already available. Yes, on PC and PS4, but now it's actually coming to the Xbox. So you guys will be eating, which is good. And also the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 releases in May, also on all systems, which is nice. Although I will admit I'm a little upset about the release date. This fucking game comes out the day after Doom: The Dark Ages, so it's like, fuck. You know,
like a good birthday present.
Yeah. Well, for you, right? There you go. Man, I should probably just get you the physical version of that. There you go. That's my present to you, Manny.
Happy birthday.
So I'll probably play Doom first. Obviously, that's the priority. But I really want to play Capcom Fighting Collection too. I never played the Capcom versus SNK games, and I could talk about it now. The embargo lifted. I got to play. I told you guys off screen, obviously. I got to play these games, or 3 of them, at a Capcom event. I got to play Capcom versus SNK 2, Project Justice, and Street Fighter Alpha Upper. I thought that the Upper was kind of a waste. I'm like, why you let us play this shit? Can we play Power Stone? It's right there, but all those games were grayed out and stuff. Lots of fun, good stuff. Again, lots of games there. The only one that people aren't happy about is Capcom Fighting Evolution. That was a shit game, admittedly. They just threw that shit together, and that was kind of the last that last Capcom fighting game you got for years. I'm not even exaggerating. Like after that, nothing for a long time until Street Fighter 4. All right, another one, Okami, Path of the Goddess. Apparently, there's going to be a demo or something. I don't know, but anyway, if you're into Okami, there you go. Sequel's coming. Animusha, Way of the Sword. I think that's the new game. You got some new stuff there. They claim it's as captivating as possible. I wonder if they're going to have another star in it, or if they're going to stay away from that, because that's one of the reasons we can't get some of the other games, some licensing stuff. So the game arrives in 2026. So get ready for that. Animusha 2 is being remastered, people. And that's coming out soonish, because the thing here says 2026 is too long of a wait for you. Animusha, Capcom's going to release. It came out 2022. Where's the release date for this shit? Oh well, they don't have it here. That's stupid. There you go. That's all they had, and then their last half was just a big Monster Hunter showcase. Good stuff there. I can't say any more than that, but some good stuff there. Capcom, they're cooking this year, and I'm glad you Xbox guys are finally getting some of that love for the old school arcade games. So good stuff there. All right, Manny, what's going on with Yoshida? I know he did another interview or something.
So yeah, Yoshida again. You know, his mouth is free,
Uh-oh.
and this one obviously wasn't as many bombs, but there are some fun little tidbits in here. This was actually done by MinMax, if you know who that is. That I think they were former what was that company? The guys that did the magazine that GameStop that bought.
Eurogamer.
Not Eurogamer.
Game Informer.
Game Informer. So yeah, some of the people from MinMax are people from Game Informer, so they obviously asked him some Game Informer questions. But some of the fun things that he showed up on here was obviously one thing I did mention earlier, where he did talk about, you know, pretty much getting into the mind of why some of these games are when it comes to service games, why they seem to be the answer for a lot of people, for a lot of companies. It's mostly because for executives it makes the most sense to them for some reason, essentially releasing a portion of the game and then waiting for the waiting for the money to come in to essentially fund the next part of the game, kind of a deal. The other one that he did, the another question he asked about game failures, and he's like, well, a lot of the time it's leadership issues. He went and said that. Another one which I thought was kind of fun. This is going back to Metal Gear. They asked him what his favorite memory of Kojima was, and he, had they ever talked or had they ever had any issues? He's like, for the most part, I never did have any issues. He's like, one thing I did have an issue. We did ask Kojima to change, and he's like, in the game, Police Knots, there is this. If you put the controller on the chests of the women, it does something to them specifically, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to do that, so can you change that? And he's like, all right, we'll do that, we'll change that. But yeah, if you ever played Police Knots, jiggle physics, let's just just say that. So yeah, so it's a really great interview. There's a lot of really good insight. There's also one bit of insight when he talked about, this is not concerning what happened with EA and Dragon Age and all that sort of stuff. I remember in the news that they said on that BioWare's team has been cut down to below the amount of 100 people amount. And Shuhei Yoshida in general didn't address this, but he addressed that issue in general when it comes to video game studios. He said, why would you, he's like, essentially he says it's not cost effective to keep a full team around, especially when you're early in development. Obviously you want to cut down your teams in order to keep it down to your core team and then build it up. Pretty much what was, what most companies do whenever these sorts of situations, when sorts of stuff happen. You go down to your main team and then you build it up from there. What was the other one?
He talked about Wild, the cancellation of that game, which is kind of interesting.
Yes, he talked about the cancellation of Wild. He also talked about the other version of Uncharted, which was he didn't talk about the interviewer talked about, but there was another version of there were two things that I think it was Insomniac that did Infamous. I keep getting them mixed up.
Just Sucker Punch.
Yeah, so there was two versions of games that they pushed forward. There was an Infamous game, and then it was this other game called Uncharted.
Interesting.
which has nothing to do with the thing. But he goes, they did suggest like maybe the Sony liked the name, or they liked the name, so they used it for something else. What was the other one? There's a couple of other things on here. Oh, he did say that he misses development on like stuff like the original PlayStation, because it was, wasn't big teams. It was just smaller teams just putting out really fun games. And that's part of, he also sort of confirmed what I believe about why he decided to, or why he sort of took over the indie development a portion of Sony, of PlayStation, because he kind of missed those smaller type of titles where it's like, oh, they're not blowing a shitload of money on this thing, stuff like that. And there was also the Polygon Man. He talks about Polygon Man and why it wasn't used for the mascot of PlayStation. And he said it wasn't because of what the general audience thinks of what it was, where it was too ugly or was scary or anything like that. Apparently the creator of PlayStation didn't like it because it used flat shaded polygons.
Oh no.
And the PlayStation 1 could do textured polygons. So it was the only reason why he didn't want it.
That's crazy.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a good interview. Go check out MinMax. It's a lot more fun things he has to talk about. Not exactly the
Ken Kutaragi, right? Is the one that objected to it? Yeah. Ken Kutaragi's a character, man.
Ken Kutaragi didn't want it. Oh man, the Ken Kutaragi moment, man, of last year. When Jeff names him and he's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, Ken Kutaragi. I was like, "Oh shit." Oh man, but yeah, good stuff. Hopefully, Shu will keep on giving us the goods.
Oh, the last one. He says that he wants to continue to work in games, but it would probably be more of a person to sort of to help other studios, like be like a freelancer and help other studios get their games up to snuff. And also, he was responsible for getting Mark Cerny involved with designing the PlayStation Vita and designing the PlayStation 4 and the 5.
Oh, that's cool.
Because he said initially when they were doing, despite everything all being the same company, PlayStation hardware and PlayStation game development were two totally separate things, and they didn't talk to each other. So Kutaragi was just developing things based on trying to give developers as much as they could to make this thing, but never really thought about what developers actually needed.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that's specifically why when the next thing to be developed, which was the Vita, which was incredibly easy to develop for, because Cerny was like, he's worked kind of in both of those worlds, in hardware and in software. And it's like, okay, this is the things that we sort of need in this world. Same thing with the PlayStation 4, same thing with the 5.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Good stuff. All right, bringing this up because we haven't heard about this franchise in a while. Battlefield is coming back, people. They showed a new trailer this week. And some interesting stuff because they also announced like something called Battlefield Labs, which is like for beta testers. Anyway, let me read this off of IGN. Some kind of interesting stuff, and also one bit that annoys me, but we'll get to that. EA has delivered the first official look at the new Battlefield game as part of an announcement around player testing and its development setup. The brief glimpse at pre-alpha Battlefield gameplay comes as part of a video revealing what EA calls Battlefield Labs and an accompanying call to arms to playtesters. Meanwhile, this is where it gets interesting. Meanwhile, EA revealed Battlefield Studios, the umbrella branding for the 4 studios that is working on the new Battlefield. These are the series' main Stockholm, Sweden-based developer DICE, Dead Space remake and Star Wars Squadrons developer Motive, U.S. studio Ripple Effect, formerly known as DICE LA, and UK studio Criterion, who is not working on Burnout, so they can work on this game instead. DICE in Sweden is building the multiplayer for the new Battlefield. Motive is working on single-player missions and multiplayer maps. Ripple Effect is working on bringing new players to the Battlefield franchise. I don't know what that means. And Criterion is working on single-player campaign. As already announced, the new Battlefield sees the return of a traditional single-player linear campaign after 2021's Battlefield 2042 went multiplayer only. EA said its collective Battlefield Studios team are now entering a critical phase of development cycle and want player feedback on what to prioritize, improve, and refine before release. To that end, Battlefield Labs will see EA test almost everything, but not everything players will see will be complete. Participants will have to agree to an NDA, which makes sense. Obviously, you don't want motherfuckers spilling beans. Kind of related to this, EA also announced that they're not going to be, they're not working on a new Need for Speed, which is also helmed by Criterion. Now we know why. They're working on this, you know. My main thing is like, hopefully, you know, if there's a studio that's apparently reaching out to players or whatever, hopefully this time they won't be telling players to not buy their game. Like with Battlefield 1, remember that disaster, you know? So hopefully they'll get on people's better graces. And I remember that whole Battlefield 2040, whatever, 1942 nonsense. But we'll see. But Adam, I'm looking at you because you're a Call of Duty guy. Do you mess with Battlefield at all?
Not anymore. Not after they did all the multiplayer. I tried, and the big battles, the conquest modes are kind of fun when you got a bunch of friends that you know, and you're like, all right, let's go kill some bitches. But after a while, you're like, all right, I'm done. And I like the linear stories. That's why I play the campaign in Call of Duty. I like those just run around, and still has those that Michael Bay feel of everything exploding, your super soldier. And it sounds like they plan to go back to that format, you know, in their own way. They won't give us what we really want, which is a Bad Company 3. I don't know why. That was, 1 was great. 2, I think, sold even better than 1. I know a lot of people liked it because of the destructible environments, you know, and they just left it alone. And instead they did this. I was like, shoot, you had your own niche little path with that, because it was like a dirty dozen or just like an odd group of guys doing their thing. And they just left it alone and tried to chase after Call of Duty, make it that realistic type of war game. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see what they do with this.
Yeah, they claim they're trying to go back to their kind of roots, specifically Battlefield 3 and 4, which obviously were the big ones that everybody liked. Vince Zampella is still there, still leading this. So, you know, talk about the names of people. There you go. But we'll see, you know, if it could actually, because this game is always that franchise that tried to compete with Call of Duty but never quite made it. But, you know, the people who liked it. All right. And the last thing we want to talk about, we got to talk about Avowed. This one's kind of fun. Basically, the Avowed director was doing an interview, and when the interviewer, I guess, mentioned the PS5 release, because remember, this is supposed to be an Xbox exclusive, he gave a little telling smile. Listen, we know what's up, bro. At this point, I think we can safely say every Xbox game is coming to PlayStation. Like, there's no red lines, as Phil Spencer said. And after Forza, it's just a matter of time, people. Adam, get ready for Gears. You know that's coming.
Well, I think when they do Gears, there'll probably either be that collection or the new one. I don't see them saying, oh, we're going to throw Gears 5 on there by itself. They're going to try to get everybody involved in it. So it makes sense if they release that Gears collection.
Yeah. Oh, Manny, this happened on that podcast of yours, the Min-Max podcast. So there you go.
Manny's in another podcast?
Yeah, Manny mentioned it.
Apparently, I'm on another podcast.
No. I was joking around because he was talking about Min-Max before.
Oh, excuse me? Yo,
and Winky's Playhouse, the other one, that was a weird one.
Adam, first of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Second, how do you, I don't know if you've ever, or you probably didn't, I already forgot, but what are your thoughts on Gears moving to PlayStation? I mean, we already know what's going to happen.
It's the same thing that I said a year ago when someone got all bitchy about me wearing a Division hat. It's like, I'm loyal to the IP. I don't care the platform. You know, wherever it is where I play it, dude. I don't care if it's on an Xbox, you know, a fucking arcade one-up cabinet. If it's a game that I like and I want to play it, I will play it. I don't care. So if anything, I might double dip, just so I can play it on one with a group of friends, and then I play with on all the PlayStation dudes. Like, all right, let's do it on that one, just like I did with Division. I beat it with Tony and everybody on there, and then I had my Xbox friends. Hey, let's play this shit. And I'm like, let's do it, and I rebeat it all on there, and then I got the PC version. You know, I don't care.
For the love of the game, you know.
Exactly, just love the game, and that's what I'm saying when I tell people. It's like, it's just play where the games are. If there's a game on a console and you're like, oh, I can't believe it, and it's on that thing, well, can you afford it? Yeah, but then just fucking get it. You only live once. Go get it, play the shit out of it. That's it.
Oh man. So yeah, Avowed, obviously gonna be coming to PlayStation 5 at some point. You know, we just don't know when. And again, let me see if this thing at least says when this fucking game's when is this game. I know it's coming. People have been playing it. You know,
it's this year, no?
It is this year, but I mean it's soon. It has to be. Rich, can you shed any light on this? Like, when is this game dropping? Avowed.
I'm gonna guess March.
That sounds about right.
That's a phenomenal question. I believe it's in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's not March.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is like in 2 weeks. It's this month.
Is this game coming out like alongside Monster Hunter? That's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah. It is. It is.
Right. So Brian, you and I will not be playing it.
On Steam, it says comes out on the 18th of February.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's
correct.
A week before Monster Hunter. So there you go.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Oh man. All right, that's gonna do it for us. But since we have a little bit of time, let's go around the room, see what we've been playing lately. We got Adam here, so you know it's gonna be good. Adam, what you been playing lately, man?
Well, I mean, you know, trying to play the Spider-Man 2. As you saw,
they released a patch today.
Another patch. Yeah, a full patch. Yeah,
Adam, I got the email.
Yeah, you got to see it. There you go. Got the email. That's why I figured. I put it in a chat, and I'm like, Tony got this shit. And then I just deleted it. I was like, there's no point. But yeah, they sent out all the bug fixes and this and that. And I was like, yeah, you could say you did all that shit, but the proof is in the pudding. Let me play this shit. And I still see the stutters during the cutscenes. It's so weird too, because it's like gameplay works. That scene, that opening scene with the big fight with the Sandman, you're like, oh, if there's any part of the game that the shit should crash, it should be right there during that fight, right?
Yeah.
Big thing swinging at you, you're swinging around. Miles is doing whatever bullshit he's doing. And no, it doesn't. It's fine. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I've been playing on the Steam Deck. I locked it at 40 FPS because I know it's not going to go higher than that. And then once I get to the cutscene, okay, Miles, here we go. And I'm like, what the? And then once it stops with the cutscene, smooth gameplay again.
Wow.
And then that's the other. And here's the other shit. So I have the performance counter on. Once it hits the cutscene, it goes from, like I said, I locked it at 40. It goes to like 20. 25,
man, brutal.
20 to 20. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? What's wrong with this? It's so weird. Usually the cutscenes are always the clean ones because it's just a video, you know, and those are usually okay. And then it's the gameplay that has the problems with the frame rate.
Yeah.
No, this is reverse. They need to figure this shit out. And I did it. I booted up right after I did the install. It's like a 4 or 5 gig file.
Shit.
And still same shit. I'm like, okay, you still haven't really fixed the problem.
Yeah, they're fucking up. They're fucking up.
Yep. And then just getting ready to boot up my Yakuza Pirate. I can at least say that much, you know.
There you go.
You know, Yakuza style over in Hawaii. Seems like the guy had like some memory loss or some crazy shit. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I got sent a review code for it, but I don't have time to play it, man, or review it. You know,
well, yeah,
fortunately,
time. Yeah,
that's how it is. Anything else?
I mean, I always play my old shit. I'm still playing my FC, you know.
Yeah,
I still do that. And Rich and I, he'll talk about it later on, stuff that we get hyped about for the wrestling game that's coming. So, been doing a lot of research for that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I've been playing more Mario Kart.
Oh, really?
On the Steam deck. On the Steam deck.
Getting ready for that Switch too?
Get ready for the Switch too. I don't know. It's just something about Mario Kart. Maybe it's just because it's so simple. And it's so simple to the point that you're like, oh, there's got to be other good ones. And I've tried a shitload. I mean, even Warhammer came out with their own kart racer type thing. It's nothing sticks. Nothing hits the nail on the head like the way Mario Kart. So I just always find myself going back to it when I only have a little bit of time. I want to play a racer. I don't have enough time to boot up Forza or Horizon, do all that shit. I know Lego tried it. They did their Lego racing game. That was pretty close, but then that's gone. I think they shut that studio down or something. I haven't heard anything. Yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Yeah. All right. You know what? I'll go to Rich next since you mentioned him. So, Rich, what are you playing lately that you could talk about?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. So, yeah. So let me just add this. Myself and Mr. Adam Vale, we actually did a video yesterday sharing our thoughts on WWE 2K25. So, if you are curious to hear what we think about that wrestling game, definitely check it out. I've actually been playing WWE 2K24 because I decided to go back to it again.
250 hours isn't enough. Have you guys seen his chart of how much hours he put in? That was when he sent that. I'm like, shit. How do you have time to do anything else? It was in the hundreds for this one game.
That is correct.
That is dedication.
So, because I wanted to go back in and see a few things. So I've been playing a little bit of that. I have also been playing Dynasty Warriors Origins. Shout out to Riku.
Shout out to Riku.
That's his game, and I'm enjoying that. And that I think is the extent of all I can say as far as what else I have been playing. But I will say this: you're going to hear about this stuff relatively soon, so stay tuned.
Nice. Right, Manny. What about you? Playing anything?
So I think last time I said I had gotten the platinum trophy
in
Hi-Fi Rush. So I'm going down the line. So now I'm going to go back into Slitterhead. I was about halfway, a little over halfway through when I left off playing it last time. I'm sort of the way I'm doing it. Playing games now, at least from the previous stuff, is I'm gonna go through the games that are a little bit shorter to play. So I just got the platinum in the Stanley Parable too, as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm just going through like some of the shorter games. So Slitterhead's probably the shorter of the sort of newer titles, like Slitterhead, Stellar Blade, and Black Myth. Probably gonna leave Black Myth for the last, because that one's a little more time consuming when it comes to battles. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. So right now I'm Slitterhead. They did an update like maybe a little bit before the holiday or a little after the holiday, which adjusted the way the parrying works in the game. Because if you've ever played Slitterhead, there is you have like a block button, and then what they have is an additional thing that locks the camera, by the way. And then you have this, you use the right analog stick to block in the direction of where the thing is going to happen.
Interesting.
So, they give you a tell, and then you kind of go, and then you knock it out of the way, the more successful parries that you have, the more abilities that you can do. So it brings up your super bar almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting way to play. So I'm looking forward to going through that.
Nice. Right, Brian, what you playing?
I've been continuing my journey on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered.
Nice.
Got all the multiplayer trophies after a while because multiplayer is just, man, it's not that fun.
Wait, which Need for Speed?
Hot Pursuit Remastered.
Okay.
Yeah. It was free on PSN Plus, so obviously why not? And plus I missed out the initial platinum on the PS3 version. I'm lacking the multiplayer trophies because multiplayer trophies. So I thought, you know what? Let me actually get platinum for this game. So yes, did that, and now I'm just going through the usual story modes, quote unquote. And yeah, it's still as good as I remember, and still as fun. Still as much bullshit. They haven't fixed a bunch of stuff, and the rubber banding is an absolute pain
Oh God,
to
the
deal
worst
with.
fucking
It's,
mechanic in racing games.
it's like you'll be there doing like absolutely amazingly well, and then
Thank you, Mario Kart.
you're like 10 seconds ahead of second place, and then you take 3 corners, and then suddenly second place is right there behind you, and you're like, makes no sense. Or the other way around, you crash, you wipe out, something bad happens, and then you're racing to catch up, and then suddenly every single driver is like an 80-year-old on a Sunday. It's like, what is going on in this game? Makes no sense. So if you learn how to abuse that, then the game is easy. So that's right.
Do you have a wheel? It's fun playing with a wheel. That's when I played it a lot with it.
I have it on PlayStation, so no wheel. I actually did get a wheel at some point back in the PS2 days, but I think I broke the wheel.
It should still work if it's one of the. Is it a?
No,
something.
PS2, I doubt it.
Master. I still my Xbox 360 Street Fighter 5-6 still work on all of them.
Oh
it
wow!
It wasn't USB-C. It was like the weird PS2 connector thing. Dude, God. Remember controllers that were connected to the console?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Kids these days have no idea. With the wireless phones and the wireless controllers and the wireless earphones.
Yeah, right.
Madness. That's about it. Obviously, jumping in and out of Monster Hunter, trying to just dust off some rust and having some fun. So yeah, I'm excited to playing Wilds over the weekend.
It's gonna be fun. All right, Carlos, what you playing?
I'll pass.
All right, fair enough. As for myself, like I said, I've been playing some Street Fighter 6. I completed all of Mai's missions in World Tour mode. Did her arcade mode a couple of times. Unlocked all the art. Training, doing some combos. I also this was over the weekend. I was playing because I finished all the story stuff for Guilty Gear Xrd Sign. So now I went over to Revelator 2. So continuing that. But obviously I took a break because I'm playing some Street Fighters. What else have I been playing? I think that's mainly been it. Just playing my fighting games and getting ready for Monster Hunter. But I do want to take a moment here to show you guys something cool. So I apologize to the listeners because it's purely visual stuff. I want to show you a cool controller I'm going to be reviewing. This is the Turtle Beach Stealth Pivot. This is for Xbox and PC. So obviously it looks like a Xbox controller, but it has some back paddles and stuff. Really good stuff. But there's some other fun things here, which I'll get to in a bit. It also has trigger locks here for first-person shooters, so you get your actuation points. But let's get to the fun part, because you may notice it has these locks in the back. Like, what is that, Tony? What's all this about? So yeah, great controller for first-person shooters or pretty much any game, right? But if you unlock this, magic happens. First of all, you see the analog sticks. You could actually see if I could get this on camera here. You could twist the analog stick. Notice how it went in. Like, ooh, well, that's kind of weird. Why is that happening? Like, Tony, and can I play this with fighting games in this version? Some fighting games, but what you really want to do is this. Twist them around, and let's see if I can do this right. There you go. The pivot. Now it is a proper fighting game controller. You got the D-pad here. You got your 6 buttons. Really good stuff, Crazy, right, Adam?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, I've never seen a controller like this. Like the Victrix Pro has like a module so you could like take out with with a screwdriver and stuff. But this one just does it automatically. And it feels great. I've been playing some Virtua Fighter Revo. Oh, yeah, that's the other game I was playing, Virtua Fighter Revo. So, yeah, this is a fun controller. The Turtle Beach Stealth Pivot for PC. I don't know if they have this for PlayStation or not. But just among other things I'm reviewing, I also have a lot of arcade sticks here that I'll be reviewing in the next couple of weeks. Shout out to PDP and Kanba for sending me some stuff. And also it was PDP that sent me this. PDP owns Turtle Beach and also own Victrix. It's like they're just sucking up everybody. Or I think actually no, it's Turtle Beach that owns PDP. It's crazy. And the thing about Turtle Beach, I always thought they were just like a headset company, but no, they make controllers too. You know, does it have room for a VMU? Unfortunately, not, Barry. So apologies for that. VMU was fun, but yeah, there you go. Checking it out. And yes, I know the Monster Hunter beta is live now, but I don't know how long it's going to be up for. Like, Brian, you said this weekend is going to be available?
Yes, it's going to be available for the next 3 days. So they're doing the same like staged thing that they did last time.
We're diving in, Brian. We're diving in, bro.
So I think the first session is between between the 7th and the 10th.
Yeah.
And then the other one is between the 11th and the 14th. I'm not mistaken. So
yeah.
there's two chances to get in on the action. So hopefully we won't miss out on.
Yeah.
Well, we won't. I won't miss out because I won't be missing out on any of this. So yeah. Oh no, dates are wrong. So between the 7th and the 10th, and then between the 14th and the 7th. Sorry, between the 14th and the 17th.
Yeah. Oh, so, nice.
3 days, either this week or next week. So this weekend or next weekend. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I know what I'm doing this weekend, just like you. All right. Let's start wrapping things up here. As far as plugs go, I think this one I'm going to handle it now. Rich, I'm going to ask you what's happening on the Coalition this weekend for the Thursday show, and then what's happening on the Coalition during the Sunday show. But I'm going to jump the gun a little bit as far as what's happening on the Coalition. It is back, people. The Invincible podcast. You already know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the first 3 episodes are now available, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so we will be reviewing all 3 of those on a mega podcast. Right now, it's probably going to be Sunday. So, yeah, that'll be me, Dana Abercrombie, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr., Carlos Romero, and hopefully our friend Joey Polanco. I got to hit him up, and whoever else wants to join. I don't know if Danny wants to join us, but we'll see. That's going to be fun. But, yeah, what else is going on the Coalition this weekend? Rich?
There's a lot of things going on. Not too much this weekend. Just a lot of I'll be busy working on a couple of different things. But just to go based off what you said, the Invincible podcast will be back. As I mentioned earlier, myself and Adam, we've done a video on WWE 2K25. There will be a lot more WWE 2K content coming, but I also want to put out a reminder because Adam also has a show coming very soon that he will be dropping later this month. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Adam.
It's something I talked about before. So, I'm talking Reacher. It's for the show, the Lee Child novels that have been turned into a series over on Amazon. This is season 3. So that comes out on the 20th. So they're dropping 3 episodes, and myself and Lawrence from A Punk with Toys are going to be covering that, and it's going to be fun. So we're looking forward to posting it up, and that'll be on our YouTube channel over on the Coalition and on Spotify.
Good stuff. Manny, you want to plug your comic?
I mean, it's gonna probably be gonna keep on doing it for the next few months. But,
okay, so we may take a break on that. So, but go ahead.
We'll take a break on it. But
but for consistency, we'll take a break on it starting after Sunday because we want to keep it 2 and 2.
So yes, coming this October.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's how far ahead you got to do comics. But anyway, me and Kari are doing a cover series for the new Ninja Turtle series that's coming out. That's currently out. We did issue 1, so now we're going to be doing issue 8. I think 7, 8, and 9 or something like that. So it's going to be a 4 cover run. Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. So it's gonna be cool.
He's the leader of the group.
Nice.
You know the
Yeah.
old
Here's the leader of
song.
Teenage Mutant
Ninja.
Ninja Turtles.
So yeah, so that'll be out eventually. Also got a couple of other things in the can that I cannot speak of because
Uh-oh.
of non-disclosure agreements. But yes, those are coming.
Yeah, pizza is the food that's sure to please.
My daughter knows the whole. She knows the whole rap.
thing.
She knows
Yeah,
the whole thing.
these heroes are into pepperoni and cheese, man. Just so you know. How many of our listeners know that fucking song? Power. Oh man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All right, man. Start wrapping up here. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Join a Discord and follow us on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Good weekend, everybody.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And Brian Manjoma.
It's time to get my ass handed to me by the new Apex.
Oh, man, you better lock in with them Japanese players, man. Get the help. All right, guys, we'll see you on Sunday. And go play some Monster Hunter. Later.
Peace.
Latest.